I spoke at the Paducah Women's Club yesterday also, so I'm going to use the microphone here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. So many friends that I've known down through the years. Mayor, I'm not going to forget you get to sing the national anthem. When I was MC, I forgot to introduce her. I said, who was that beautiful lady I introduced? Well, she's going to be the mayor of Mayfield. I said, oh, man. But thank you, and I was excited to be in your office yesterday. Senator McConnell, it's always an honor to be with you, and obviously one of the most important figures in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but a national figure that we had a little something to do with, and he's never let us down. And my goodness, Rand Paul. A lot of people wondered about Rand Paul. I said, well, Rand Paul's the smartest guy in most rooms that he's going to be in, and he hasn't proven us wrong, and he's done a great job. And he and Mitch McConnell don't always agree on everything, but they agree on the most important things. And we have the toughest, most important team of United States senators in America. He's doing something right, because the majority of people on the statewide ticket live in his district. So obviously he is doing something. I'm going to get to the governor's race here just a little bit of this great team. I have a limited amount of time, and this guy's serious about that horn. If you want to hear the whole speech, we're going to leave it embargoed, because we have members of the press here that might go over and tell the governor about what we're going to say, but he's going to hear it soon enough. In the last several days, since Monday, we've been traveling the 1st Congressional District, and we started in West Kentucky and far West Kentucky. And we've traveled all over the area. And we dealt with a lot of people that come from an area very much like Cumberland County. We're on the river, the Cumberland River. We have lakes, we have tourism. We depend on agriculture. We're right on the edge of the coal fields. We have woodlands that we do. But the most important similarity is that we're looking over there in Tennessee. We're looking over there in Tennessee, and we saw a state that was very near the size that we were a couple of decades ago, and now they've got 2 additional congressional seats more than we do, and 900,000 more people working. I remember when Louisville was a much greater city than Nashville, and now a lot of the industries that were actually spawned in Louisville, Kentucky, Senator McConnell, the healthcare industry, have moved to Nashville and created thousands of well-paying jobs. I look at Knoxville and compare it to Lexington now, and it's a shame. And I ask people in Elkton, how's it going in Elkton? Well, we look right across the border here and we see Hemlock over there with the semiconductors, and we can't get people to come over here because they don't want to do business in Kentucky. And I go to Christian County. How many of you in Christian County? Raise your hand. The people in Christian County know what I'm talking about. It took us 5 times to get the military pay exempted from Kentucky income tax. We did it 5 times in the Kentucky State Senate before we forced it in an economic development bill that this governor could not stop. And we did it because we owed the men and women that serve in so many deployments a little extra help. But there was another reason. Those military folks are pretty good managers of their money. Decided it was better to live over there on the Tennessee side of the line. I had a pilot from down there the other day said you could fly over the border and you could see where the line is because the development was on the Tennessee side, not the Kentucky side. So I know about this. And the other day when we brought it up at the Farm Bureau breakfast, the governor wanted to make a joke about it. Well, I guess David likes orange. Well, I guess he likes that Tennessee Jack Daniels whiskey more than he does bourbon. And I looked him right in the eye and I said, Governor, this is not a laughing matter. When you have double-digit unemployment and thousands of people that have left our state, and many of the people who live here have to go somewhere else to visit their children and grandchildren, this is not a laughing matter. It's not funny. We have a tax structure that is the most regressive tax structure when it comes to job creation of any state around us, and we're getting beat to death. The governor has an incentive program that he brags about. If you've seen him on TV, I'm using tax incentives to bring jobs to Kentucky. That's an admission that our tax system is broken, and he wants the bureaucrats in Frankfort, Kentucky, to pick the winners and losers. He doesn't want to let the marketplace, he doesn't want to let entrepreneurial activity make hard work pay off. He wants you to go up there with your hat in your hand, and your checkbook in the other hand, and let the politicians decide who gets the incentives. And you know, the rank and file don't get the tax breaks. The small business people don't get the tax breaks. And the tax breaks that they do give run out, and then the people go someplace else because we can't compete. Kentucky, as your governor, I'm going to put together a plan and a coalition that will change that once and for all and get us back in the job building business. I once had a friend that said, is that the only tool you have is a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. If you put a bankruptcy lawyer as governor of Kentucky, he's going to look at the state as someone who's in bankruptcy. Steve Beshear made his multi-millions of dollars, Senator McConnell, destroying a great Kentucky company, Kentucky Central. He stole people's retirement hopes. He did away with thousands of jobs and made himself a multi-millionaire, so he thinks he's a bankruptcy lawyer. So now he takes pride in selling assets, in taking salary away from the rank and file, in not paying debts. And the greatest pride he takes is enriching his fellow lawyers. Why he does it? He's a bankruptcy lawyer that wants to preside over the dismantlement of a government, not look to the future, because a bankruptcy lawyer doesn't have a future in the client he represents or he's trying to take apart. We need a future. We don't need to look at the past. Now, Steve Beshear is an interesting guy. He says his father and his grandfather were preachers. You seen that ad? Yeah. And they were undertakers. Now, I don't have anything against undertakers. But you know, I heard Steve Beshear was considered an undertaker because he sucked the life out of that big company up there in Lexington, Kentucky. And he doesn't understand what it's like to create things. But the real thing I heard about Steve Beshear had to do with a preacher background. Seth York's dad that works for us, Herschel York, said that God doesn't have grandchildren. He only has children. The bottom line of it is we know that Steve Beshear doesn't believe in the things you and I believe in. The most inalienable right we have is the right to life, God-given right to life. We are a pro-life team, and we have pro-life principles. Now we do know that Steve Beshear does believe in the hereafter. Because in Frankfort, Kentucky, when he and his bagmen come around, I've heard it say, well, here comes Steve Beshear and his bagmen, and we know what they're hereafter. And Todd people, if we had an attorney general, we'd find out what they were hereafter. Yeah! We'd find out what they were hereafter. I'm going to tell you that I've got a minute and a half to do it, and I'm going to talk about the rest of the people on this ticket. It would be great to have Todd Peepool as the Attorney General of the Kentucky to have a prosecutor. You know, Steve Beshear the week that he makes the Attorney General we have look like one tough, well, you know the rest of the line. But we need an Attorney General, and Casey Crosby, a well-qualified person, conservative, she'll be a great person in the Treasurer's office. Yes. Bill Johnson just wants to do something really simple about elections. He wants to make them fair, to make sure that every vote that's been protected by the blood of our patriots counts the same, to have a photo ID. A real farmer who's going to be a great commissioner of agriculture if he can convince everyone that his opponent is not Richie Farmer. He'll be a great commissioner. John Kemper, running against the most unqualified person on the Democrat ticket, little Adam Edlin. Little Adam looks like he's wearing his daddy's suit around somewhere, and I want to tell you about Adam. If they think Steve Beshear is going to be re-elected governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, why would you want his chief of staff that's been on all these deals to be the auditor, the independent auditor? It won't work, and John Kemper will do the job. Amen. And Richie Farmer. Richie Farmer's going to continue to promote agriculture. He'll be a great lieutenant governor. He's done a great job as commissioner. Now, the final thing I'm going to tell you, some people say we can't win. Well, 90 days out from here, we're going to show them that we can win. We together can win. We can put an effort together because everyone agrees in the principles we agree in. What we've got to go out of here is with resolve. Now, I want to recognize one other person and his wife here tonight. Phil Moffitt and Christy, stand up here. Phil.
Yeah.
Last night, Phil made one of the most gracious endorsements and statements over there about unity in our party and about what the common goals we have. And I let out a little secret about our ticket that we have here. Most everyone on our ticket lost some votes. We didn't vote for each other, all of us. Some of us voted for Phil. I hope one or two of them, Richie, I hope you voted for me. We didn't all vote for each other, but we're together now because we understand one thing. We've got to put independents, conservatives, Tea Party, patriot, libertarians, all that want to change in this state, and we will change it this November, and together we will accomplish that change and change this state forever. God bless you, and we'll see you in advance.